We're here in some of our more marginal habitat in Missouri, but in agricultural areas you don't have a lot of choice of where you're going to put your wildflower plots. This is the more unproductive part of the field as far as the row crops are concerned. So a lot of individuals will put a 30-foot border in between their field and the ravine. As you can see, gray-headed coneflower, black-eyed Susan still do persist pretty well out here. And one really big setback about this area is that it is frequently flooded. You might have frequent pesticides applied, and your native insects that live in the ground could be flooded out.
Try to pick a site with some slope. Stay away from low spots if they're visible in the field. If fields are weedy, slow down in your management. It may take some time to control weedy or invasive weed situations. Spots near agricultural fields can catch pesticide drift. Minimize water runoff that may contain fertilizer and chemicals. Tree roots that extend out into the field may not be good. In dry years, trees will outcompete wildflowers. Shelter from the wind on two sides would be great, perhaps trees to the north and to the west. Grazing may be used in your management, but needs to be properly timed.
On the edges of our pastures, we have small little places, little nooks where you can't get a mower in there, you can't get a hay rake in there. A very beneficial wildflower is ironweed. Blooms right at the right time in mid-summer, and we have some evidence that it is preferred by monarch. Tree lines may be very difficult to establish very long-term sites because you might have a water deficit from the trees, and you might have feeder roots out here going out into the open to try to catch more moisture. So these areas right here might establish for a year or two, but then in a dry year the trees would take over and be very competitive. This particular plot has a high ratio of warm season grasses in it, which may be very difficult for wildflowers to get established under all of this mass right here. The sunlight and nutrients have been cut down by the presence of the grass. It's also a very flat area and high clay and very, very poor drainage, which probably would select for some kind of species that would handle those types of conditions. This is some of our lakeside habitat where we were already naturally blessed with a lot of milkweed that were successful in this area, and we've come along and planted some more seedlings for the next couple years. We mow over to the incline, and we figure that we don't want to wreck the tractor anyway, so this is a nice area to just kind of let overgrow. We got some bull thistle and some hops clover growing here, and well, a lot of cover and everything for the monarchs, but this is kind of a high wind area. So again, you can't be too choosy on where you put the habitat. Perhaps a backside of a dam that wasn't mowed very often would be a little bit better than this. This is some marginal habitat that we have on the Missouri clay pan soil here at South Farm. This area was set up about 10 years ago and had a mixture of species in here, but because of the limited amount of fire and a lot of mowing that we have to do to maintain it, doesn't really make it long-term habitat for pollinators. But as you can see, some species are taking advantage. You have some goldenrods and some asters that are out here blooming. In summary, look for what is doing well in your area, the existing vegetation,
take some notes, write down the species that does well there, plant small amounts of wildflower seeds or plugs to see what establishes. Try to pick sites with some slope. Stay away from low spots if possible. Spots near agricultural fields can catch pesticide drift, minimize water and rainfall runoff that may contain fertilizer and chemicals. Tree roots that extend out into the field may not be good in dry years. Trees will outcompete wildflowers. Grazing may be used in your management, but needs to be properly timed.